Hey, okay, so this first part is not going to be super exciting because I'm getting all the students in here. I will say for those of you who are maybe going to be watching this to catch up, um, this afternoon video is probably going to be better because this time I'm going to try to be more aware of reading the questions that are being posted in the Google Doc so that if you watch the video, it makes sense. Because I know that like the students are talking on the Google Doc and it's going back and forth, and then I'm talking on here. So bear with us. I'm going to try to do a little bit better next time. All right, so we've got our link up to YouTube. So you guys should start showing up soon. And then all right, keep entering down so you got room. Good job. Just enter down. Good job. All right, everybody's getting in. It's looking good. All right. Y'all let me know if everybody's in. Actually, let me know if you can see this YouTube video first. It's probably helpful. Hello, FJ Drew Baker. FFJ, FFFJ. All right, cool. 10. Looks like it's working, Drew. All right, Sabrina's pulling up the YouTube. All right, good. Everybody's getting in. Grace forever blinding me with yellow font. All right. And it doesn't, let's see. It doesn't totally matter to me if you guys all have different colors or not. It's cool that you do. I'm happy with it. Hi, Ricky. Can you hear me? Are you guys on YouTube yet? Oh, crap. What happened? Be careful and don't delete each other. Yeah, the downside of us all being on the same dock is you have to be careful because we can kind of jack that up quickly, but it's okay. We'll get back. It's all right. It's our first time. We're learning here. It's okay. Woo! A whole tornado. Okay, it'd be like that sometimes. It's all right. All right, everybody's names are getting back in. Lord, don't type in yellow. Or oh no, Grace is fine actually. Your yellow is fine, baby. I mean white. I thought maybe somebody was using white. I was gonna be like, don't use white. Do not speak in do not write in invisible ink, or I'm gonna struggle. Whoever's highlighting all of them, don't delete again. Be careful. We're gonna make slow progress that way. All right. Okay, if you guys have my YouTube, somebody say yes. I feel weird talking to myself. Only a little weird. Okay. All right. So Abigail says y'all are on. All right, cool. So as soon as we get rolling, all right, awesome. I see you guys. As soon as we get rolling with everybody's lines, which I know it's kind of weird to all be doing the same Google Doc at the first time, but hey, we're figuring out. We got it. We're going to get there. All right. So I'm going to give you just another second to get in and everybody get on their own line. It doesn't matter what line you're at. And like I said, like it really doesn't matter to me if everybody has like unique colors or anything like that. It's cool to have your own color and it's easy to chill and tell at you. Drew at you. Drew, you've been typing all kind of nonsense. All right. So while you're getting settled, I think I've probably told you guys this before, but I just want to let you know, like, I'm Dr. Ferguson's daughter. My background, as far as like my experience goes, I taught high school English for 4 years. I'm home right now with my, Jonathan, you're awkward. I'm home right now with my 3 babies for this year, and then I am gonna go back to teaching more English. So I have a 4-year degree from Bluefield State. I have my master's from Virginia Tech. Go Hokies. Any Hokies in the house? Any Hokies on the Google Doc? Where the Hokies at? Oh no, the silence. Okay, here we go. Oh, we got some Mountaineers. Oh my. All right, I can forgive you, Mountaineers. We're not in the same conference anymore. It's okay. Hey, Gabe, I see you. And Dr. Ferguson went to UVA, so all right. So I went to Tech for my master's, and now I'm like 3/4 of the way done with my PhD. So I like college a lot. And I'm teaching an undergrad history class at the same time too. So I'm excited to do some teaching from home and work with you guys. I hope that this discussion mostly just gives you a chance to kind of ask me some questions about things that are confusing you, particularly in How to Tell a True War Story. I mean, I think the whole book is kind of crazy and I hope y'all are enjoying it, but I know How to Tell a True War Story is a super complex chapter. There's a lot going on there, so I want to help you work your way through it. Cool? I see all my little babies sitting silently in their Google Doc. So I'm going to assume that means cool. Do any of you guys have any questions for me first? Okay. How did the old man know he was in trouble? Be a little bit more specific. In what part? Are we talking How to Tell a True War Story, Jonathan? On the Rainy River. Okay, Elroy. So you're talking about Elroy. Got you. How did Elroy know that Tim was in trouble? Okay, cool. So Elroy, okay, there's a couple. All right. The deeper symbolism He didn't know for sure, but he had an idea and, like, he left him some money and stuff. The deeper symbolism of this chapter, there are some who suggest that Elroy is actually a symbol for Christ. And, like, if you're a symbol for Christ, then you're gonna know all. Yeah, Mark's like, "Well," so that's, like, a deep, deep meaning that has been suggested by that. On a simpler level, in that time period, everybody knew about the draft because it was such big news across the United States, and so many boys that age were being drafted that if a kid shows up at your lodge close to the Canadian border, um, odds are he's probably trying to run from the draft. Does that make sense? Um, like, if we were having a draft right now and it was a war that was, like, as unpopular as Vietnam was, like, I would think, like, Elroy just knew as soon as that kid showed up, like, yeah, that's what's going on. Alright. Other questions about I don't know, the last kid I listened to on SoundCloud that I taught, who was named Savage Dell and also got beat up in my 3rd period, he was pretty terrible. I'm still mentally scarred from that. It was bad. Maybe we'll add your SoundCloud later. Uh, yeah. Okay. So, other questions that you guys have about what you've read so far? Anything else tripping you up? Alright, we're cool? Alright, Cameron says we're cool. Okay. Okay, here comes a couple. I'm gonna go Sabrina first because your name's higher on the list. What happens to Jimmy and Martha? We don't know. Although I think I can take from it. Okay, so high key, I'm pretty sure that Martha is a lesbian. High key. I don't think she likes men. Why not low key? All right. Did Jasmine call that? Jasmine might have called that. That makes sense. Okay. Well, one, they don't really come back up in the book, Grace. Isn't it crazy? It's kind of a thing where every chapter is its own deal. Like you got to read. Where every chapter is its own deal. There's no guarantee that we'll ever see that person again, or we might see that person again, and it'll be a big deal. But I will tell you, we don't hear about Cross and Martha much anymore. Cross will come back up, but not Martha. It is kind of like a book of short stories. That's a good way to look at it. And I don't want to leave you hanging on like why I think Martha is a lesbian. So the reason that I think Martha is a lesbian is, and this kind of came up when you guys did your gender analysis. You know, she says she's not interested. Oh, Blake is not in our class. That makes sense. Okay, so Martha is not interested in getting married. She wants to be a missionary and all of that, which seems pretty normal. The part of the text that sticks out the most to me is when he admits to her his fantasy about touching her knee. A lesbian missionary, yeah, which is strange, right? Because generally frowned upon in the church at that time. She wouldn't have been open at any point, right? I mean, clearly she's not open because she would have just made that clear. Like if it was today, she just would have been like, I don't like dudes, sorry. And that would have been it. I don't know. Well, for her time, I guess it could be considered wild. But the reason that I believe this is because when he admits to her his fantasy about touching her knee, in the text it straight up says that like she stiffens, like her body becomes stiff. She inhales and she says, I'm glad you didn't. I can't like stand things like that. And he says things like what? And she's like, the things that men do. And so there are two ways that scholars interpret that passage. They feel that either one, like Martha has been like a victim of rape or abuse before. And when he tells her that thing about touching her knee, she's like super freaked out about that. And maybe she was freaked out by that, to be fair. I'll answer that, Alexis. Or maybe she just didn't like men at all. All right, so I'm going to do Alexis first. It is creepy, Sabrina. I thought she was independent, but that makes sense. Jasmine, that's fine. That's a fine interpretation too. All right, Alexis asks, why is Jimmy so focused on Martha's virginity? Well, first of all, I'm pretty sure that Jimmy's a virgin too. And mainly because I don't think he'd be fantasizing about touching her knee if he wasn't, right? There are more tragic things. Like at least he doesn't get shot in Vietnam that we know of at this time. So that's true. So number one, I think he's probably a virgin. He's in love with her, so that would be stressful for him to think that she's experienced and he's not. Number two, in that time period, based on our gender analysis, that we know that women were expected. Remember, the key word here is expected to not have sex until they got married, and then once they got married to only have sex with their husband. So to him, you know, he wants her to be both innocent and pure and the ideal woman, right? So he doesn't want her to be promiscuous. Is it cool? I don't know. But that's his gender at the time. Does that, yeah, okay. And so that does make sense. And probably also like on a sad but realistic level about boys, like they just think about that a lot. So, you know, pondering on if she's a virgin or not is important to him. And he wants her to be his, so he can't stand the thought of maybe her being with somebody else. Any other Martha and Cross questions? Poor Cross, right? I feel bad for him. He annoys me, but all right. So that gets us through the first chapter, 2 chapters, and we talked about Elroy a little bit. Let's move on to how to tell a true war story. I'm watching Jasmine type. In this chapter, they talk about how they hear noises. Yeah, isn't that an awkward, that's an awkward, Jonathan, baby, it's okay. Okay, they hear noises, but then they say it's silence. So it's confusing, right? All right, so we can talk about, and Grace, save that, keep that up there because we'll go back to Rat's part. All right, so Jasmine's saying in the chapter they talk about how they hear noises, but then says it's silent, so I'm kind of confused. Do they hear anything, or are they going crazy? Yeah, and Mark is saying exactly what I'm thinking on that. I think they're crazy. They are crazy. They're super paranoid. And yeah, and Cameron says too, crazy. I think that the purpose of that whole section of that chapter, which I also like, yes, Ricky's right too, war changes people. I think the whole purpose of that section of the chapter, which kind of ignores me, is like 2 things. The first thing, and I'm going to try to hold in on this, then Roachlands. Yeah, you definitely prove that one. Okay. All right. So there's 2. Oh, somebody got butthurt and deleted half the names. That's too bad. Sorry, babies. All right. So the 2 purposes for that section of the chapter, which we don't like, heaven help all of you guys that are trying to go back in, is number 1, to prove how it makes things crazy. And they're paranoid. And that level of paranoia can make them hear all those things, which is why they blow it up. And number 2, it kind of goes into the importance of telling stories and how storytelling styles differ. If you can remember, Tim O'Brien is not the narrator for the story part with them hearing things in the mountains. It's Mitchell Sanders who's telling that story. That's kind of important to note because you have, and that's kind of part of the metafiction aspect of this book. Metafiction does 2 things. It makes you question what is real, and we're going to talk a lot about like what's real and truth and how O'Brien describes the truth more, because that's really the point of How to Tell a True War Story. But it also, meta anything is like a something within a something. So like in The Things They Carried, The Things They Carried is written by author Tim O'Brien, but it's about character Tim O'Brien, who's a different person, who is also writing a book about Vietnam. It's a book within a book. You guys have probably had some exposure to like meta as a concept. Maybe, yeah, mind blown indeed. Maybe when you've done things like watching, have you ever watched a movie and then like in the middle of the movie they zoom in on the character and the character looks at the camera like he knows what's going on and then like talks directly to you in the audience? Like, I know I'm in a movie. This is a movie about me knowing that I'm in a movie. Yeah, it is like a fourth wall break. Exactly. That's an example of meta. The example I always tell, because I have 3 toddlers and I watch way too damn much Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, is on the Halloween special. Every time they say Dr. von Drakenstein's laboratory, they play this. I'm so sorry for damn. Have you guys been reading the same book? Were you familiar with what they say in The Things They Carried, or did they get you an edited copy? I'm picking on you. I'm playing with you. I'm playing with you. All right. All right. My baby's correcting me. All right. So anyway, Dr. von Drakenstein's laboratory. At one point, Mickey looks at the camera and he says, "Do they play that music every time they say Dr. von Drakenstein's laboratory?" Like he can hear the music in the background, which shows that Mickey is aware that he's within a movie that's playing music in the background. That's meta. Does that make sense as far as like meta fiction? Okay, cool. Grace, give me a good. We are going to get to the point of Rat sending the letter to the sister. I just want to make sure that you get metafiction. And yeah, I agree, Drew. It's confusing, but yes, we're going to wade through this together. All right. So Grace says, "What's the point of Rat sending the letter to the sister?" And she never writes back. You'll help Drew with it, Cameron? Okay, good. The sister never writes back, right? I hate to answer your question with a question, but I do want to ask you a question and see if maybe I can lead you to it myself. Why do you think the sister doesn't write back? Like, her brother's dead, and he's written this very nice letter. Why would she not answer? Yeah, I think you're right. She doesn't get it, right? She could be heartbroken. It almost seems strange. She could miss him. Doesn't want to believe it happened. All of that's true. Okay. She could feel angry. Yeah. Angry at the members of his platoon for letting him get blown up. That's fair. All right. Now, clutch your pearls, because I know that some of these ways that he describes, that Rat describes Lemon, could border on risque language, okay? But let's keep this in mind. All right, we've been reading, for you guys, we've been reading 4 chapters of Vietnam at this point. Like, we see how messed up it is, and there's very little that can happen there that surprises us, right? We can be disturbed by things, but we've kind of become like, oh, wow, they're killing a water buffalo. Oh, wow, this guy's getting blown up. This is messed up, but that's Vietnam, I guess, right? We have become somewhat desensitized to it as readers. His sister is still living in the United States, Lemon's sister. She has no idea what's going on over there, and she has her brother that she knows in her mind, and then she gets this letter from Rat that's talking about how he goes trick-or-treating naked with an M16, and I remember the quote is, I think, "boots and balls and an M16." How do you think she feels when she reads that this is what her brother has turned into? Okay, Jonathan says that's dope. Maybe he was like that before, says Grace. But I'm gonna lean with Cameron and Drew and Gabriel. Howie says, "Wild family reunion." If they're all like that, I think she's mostly disgusted and horrified. Yeah. Not only is my brother dead, I've lost him to this war, but also before he was gone, he turned into this monster. Um, because to us, we can look at it again and we're emotionally detached from him and say, like, oh, he's savage. Look at him trick or treating naked, waking up people with the M16. But really, like, that's pretty bad. Yeah, Jasmine's right. Like, I don't even know who he is anymore. It is weird. It is weird. Weird flex and not okay. Does that help, Grace, a little bit? I think it's to emphasize again, like, I think the point of that section overall that Tim O'Brien wants us to take away is that war changes them. War has stolen innocence from all of these boys who are mostly your age. They're like, just a little bit older than you, around your age if you're already 18. And then they're isolated from the people who should love them the most. Because the people like back home, your family, who should know you the best, now they don't know you after war has taken you. You love this book? Yeah, I like this in class discussion too. I wish we could I swear I would do it every day with you if I could. My husband's home today so he can help with the babies. It's kind of harder for me when I have the babes, but I would like to do it with you at least once a week if you want to. I'll let you see the kiddos one day. Two of them are sleeping right now, and I would not wake them up for $1 million. Maybe 2 million though. All right. So I hope the discussion about the rat thing kind of helps explain that section of the chapter. Did that help? War screws you up and it takes you away from your family. And other people can't relate to you. And Rat can't even see that because to him, like, he's given him the highest praise because he's shown like what a manly man he is. He is so tough. He fits all of those criteria that we talked about for being like the ideal man at that time. And yet to his sister, she's horrified. Yeah. He's probably changed too, and he just doesn't realize. I'm sorry that I'm reading this out loud. Realize it. You're right. By the way, if you're like, sis, we're reading this as she types it. You don't have to read it to us. The reason that I'm doing that this time is because I didn't think about it so much this morning, but the YouTube live that I'm doing is recording, but they won't be able to see everything we've typed in the doc. So for kids who are absent, I'm trying to read what you guys are saying too, so that if they go back and watch this video, it like makes sense. So sorry if I'm like double reading to you. I'm not trying to insult your intelligence. I know that you all can read just fine. Yeah, I'm trying. I try to think about stuff that we can, I think every time we do this, it will get better. It's already easier for me this afternoon than it was this morning because I know some of the tricks. Like this morning, I made the doc on my email and then made it totally public, and that was no good. I'd love to come there for a day. It depends on, it wasn't that bad, Cameron. It wasn't that bad. Why was it not good? There's just like somebody from that wasn't even in our class logged in and they weren't saying anything that bad, but it was annoying. You want me to bring the babies to see you guys? You don't even know the ruckus that you're asking me to unleash on you. So you love children. You love chaos. Well, it's a lot. Maybe I live in Richmond, so I'm a little away from you guys. But I certainly before the end of the school year, I think I can work something out to come down there. I do miss my mommy, so never mind. Stay there. Love you too, Jonathan. Field trip will meet halfway. Fair. Oh, you're gonna be at VCU next Friday? Well, you're right down the road. Richmond is like better than Tazewell County, is where I'll put it. State championship for what? Basketball? Good luck, Blake. Oh, cool. Yeah. And it's next Friday. Is it in the evening? Or is it during the day? Oh, I could probably make that work. Give me details and get me time and stuff. We'll probably only bring one child. Okay, well then you better win. You have to tell the team this not optional. You have to come see one of your English professors. Oh, and then you'll be Capitol Hill at the end of March for Model General Assembly. That's cool, and also down the way. Yeah, if you're ever in my neck of the woods, let me know. I listen to Lil Baby. I do not. Honestly, I don't listen to anything that's been made even like since I was born. I listen to everything from the 60s and 70s and the Wiggles because my kids like the Wiggles. Am I an Orioles fan? I'm not, Hunter. My husband is. I like the Red Sox. But my husband played baseball for Bluefield State and coaches baseball now, so he's a huge, yes, Red Sox for life indeed. Yankees, ew. Jonathan, I'm going to remember that next time I grade one of your papers. Oh, are you guys looking at all this stuff behind me? I was like, why are you guys so weird? How do you know all this stuff? Yeah, because you're looking at my office. Yes, this did devolve into a discussion about sports and baseball and other things. My dad is a Lakers fan. What's my favorite book? Is it weird if I say the things they carried? Like, honestly, I'm not trying to like market this thing to you or anything, but it is my favorite. It's so weird. Has to be Dr. Seuss. What's my favorite Dr. Seuss book? Oh, The Lorax, without a doubt. Weird flex, but okay. Thank you. Yeah. That completely describes me. All right, babies. I mean, I love talking to you, but I also want to like help you get through this. So let's talk about this was a horrible idea. I've wasted your entire class. I'm so sorry, sweeties. Okay, let's talk real quick about story truth versus happening truth. So you get the thing that I really want to talk to you about. All right, you like it, don't worry. All right. So story truth versus happening truth. This book isn't very good. Well, I don't know. The way you spelled Roachlands makes me feel like you might not read too much, which is okay. We're gonna get you there together. Oh no, quit getting butt hurting. Deleting half the names. It's okay. Keep it together. All right. You're allowed to not like books. It's okay. It doesn't change that you have to read it. Welcome to life. All right. Story truth versus happening truth is the big thing that comes up in How to Tell a True War Story. You're from Roachlands. You're not basically stupid. It's okay. I'm from Tazewell. He doesn't even go here. Okay. I have to stop. Okay. We're not playing. We're doing it. Let's do story truth versus happening truth. All right. So, in How to Tell a True War Story, the whole point of that chapter is to mess with us about making us wonder, is he telling the truth to me or not? At the beginning of that story, he says, this is true, which is really setting the reader up for, okay, well, if this is true and it really happened, I need to pay close attention because all of this stuff is really messed up. Why does he confuse us? I think he likes to play with your heads the entire time. Yeah. Thus is metafiction, babe. Thus is metafiction. Like I said, one of the points of metafiction is to make you wonder what's real and what's not. And so part of it is to mess with you as the reader and kind of keep you on your toes. Not cool, dude. I know, right? Um, okay. So if I'm gonna, well, actually anybody can do it. If I asked you, like, if you were explaining this word to like a toddler and a toddler asked you, like, what is the truth? What does that mean? How would you define that, like, simply? Like, if I asked you, like, what is the truth? How would you explain that? And it's not a trick question. Okay, what's real? Jonathan, you're closer aligned with probably how O'Brien would describe it. Reality, something that actually happened, something that can be proven with evidence, maybe Abigail is going for. Hunter says what's not fake, Howie says what the facts point out. Yeah, that's typically how we describe the truth. And that's how O'Brien would describe what he calls no cap, no crap. I guess that's a fair way to describe the truth. Okay, regardless, what actually happened, let's say, is what he refers to as happening truth. But he does not think that happening truth is what's important in a story. And so he continually changes details, places, names, what even happens within a story to try to get to what he calls story truth. Now, if we were together, I would give you an exhausting list of questions to try to make you come to this conclusion that I want you to come to. But because we've been playing around a little bit and we're close on time, although I guess we have like, what, 20 minutes left? The book is very messy. It is. Like unorganized. Okay, we will hit on that, Grace, because that's a good point. So story truth to O'Brien is more about the emotion. And so he wants you to feel the way that he felt. And if he needs to change up the details of what's happened to a point that maybe it's not really what happened, how we would describe happening truth, he's okay with that because it's the emotion. It's the emotion that matters more to him. Bromance. Young bromance. So for example, if he was really scared or really upset, he would change up those details to make you feel even more scared and upset. So emotional is more important than what happened. Does that kind of make sense as to how he sees the truth, in quotes, in quotation marks? He's an author, so telling a story is a big deal to him. Right? So that's why he kept changing up the description of how Lemon dies. And we talked in the morning class so much about how, like, the imagery with that is haunting. When he talks about how he's getting blown up into that tree and you see all the light coming through the leaves and stuff. Like, that's the only description of somebody being killed in such a gory way that I would still say, like, the imagery of it is just so powerful and beautiful at the same time too, and that makes you feel really confused. Why did they kill the baby buffalo? Okay, the baby buffalo part is very weird. Why is that? And what is the emotional function of that part of the story? Why does Rat kill the buffalo to begin with? Why does Rat kill that baby buffalo when there's no need to kill it? Why is he doing that? And why does he make it suffer? Because his friend died and he's hurt. And it doesn't make it right. And it's extremely disturbing. And it probably never happened. Like, as far as happening truth goes, there probably was no buffalo. And I think O'Brien even says that at one point in the chapter. There was no buffalo. It didn't happen. What's the emotional truth that he wants to get across? What you just said. You cannot feel Rat's pain in O'Brien's mind until you watch him kill something innocent in a horrible way. That's the point. I think that's the point. Yeah, it doesn't, I mean, it makes sense in a way. it's messed up in other ways, but it's the emotion that he gets across and he does it well. And that's why I think O'Brien is so good, because his imagery is so good, his language is strong. Those paradoxes themselves are also really confusing, and he wants you to be confused. Now, I forget who mentioned that this whole book is really confusing because it's unorganized. We call that, and I did want to get to that, nonlinear. Thank you, Grace. Nonlinear narrative. So you guys are seniors. I'm sure that we English teachers have plot diagrammed you to death by this point, right? You've had to fill out the little worksheets with the mountain that talks about rising action and climax and falling action and resolution and all of that. And that is the narrative arc, sadly, yes, right? That is the narrative arc that you're used to seeing within a story. O'Brien's don't work like that. He does not follow that, and that's why we call it nonlinear narrative. There's a couple reasons that an author would use this technique. One, he wants you to stay on his toes. You never know what the heck is going to happen next. And so part of it is to make you engaged. I think the other part of the reason why it's nonlinear narrative, and he likes that, I think the mind of a veteran with PTSD works like that. When you are living your life as a veteran from Vietnam, you're in the middle of something, you get triggered, your mind goes back into the middle of like something, you look up at a tree and you see light coming through the leaves, and then all of a sudden your mind flashes back to when you saw Lemon getting blown up into that tree. And then you think back again and you're at a different part of the story. And I think that's how his mind works. And that's why the stories read like this, and it really takes you in not just to Vietnam and what that was like for them, but also what it's like to live through Vietnam, and then how your mind would work after that as a veteran with PTSD. Does that make a little more sense? It is really cool. Yeah, yeah. High key blew your mind. Yeah, yeah, and that's why I think this is really good. I mean, this book is good, and I told you I made ninth graders read it. I had, like, ninth graders who were in a super advanced program, and they all thought they were really smart, so I was like, "Cool, we're gonna read this book that's gonna really mess with your minds." Um, so and I made them read it because it messed with their minds, but also I knew they would read it because it had profanity and violence. So, like, this book has something for everyone, right? It's on the AP list, to be fair. Okay, so I think we kind of hit at, like, the heart of what's going on and how to tell a true war story. Um, any other parts of that chapter that were confusing, or any other chapter if you wanna hop away, because I just wanted you to get those concepts of story truth, happening truth, and nonlinear narrative. And I felt like doing it in this way. I wish there was a way that we could have like video class and I could see all of your sweet little faces and hear your voices ask these questions. But I feel like this is the best way for me to give you some of the deeper answers that are still hard to get to, even with your doc assignments that you guys are doing to take notes. Everybody's quiet. Are you tired? It is Friday. When will your quizzes be graded? This weekend. I haven't looked at them yet. The morning class had to do theirs partly the next day, so I'm gonna get over those this weekend. When will you have to start worrying about your papers for this book? Um, your papers on the book. We're not going to start it until I'm going to give you all of the prompts to look at when we're close to the end, but I want to get through reading the book before I want you to worry about how we're going to write on it. And like I told you guys, all of these Google Docs that you are doing in groups, I'm not grading everyone because I consider them to be part of your pre-writing work. You guys probably remember the commercial where they talk about the internet being half fast. If you do a half fast job on those Google Docs, then you're not going to have a lot to work with when it comes time to write this essay. But if you have hold fast, if it's hold fast and the internet's going good, LOL, I like puns. Then you have excellent notes to form the basis for writing your essay. You'll have a choice of about 6 prompts to write on this book because I want you to pick an aspect of the book that you feel comfortable with and a question that you feel good about writing your answer to. But if you do a good job on these Google Docs, then you've got all your quotes and analysis waiting there for you, and you can just go right back and add it into the paper. Does that make sense? So I am like, we're functioning on a high level of trust here. Like, you didn't hear everything? Okay. Is the internet killing you? Is the internet here half fast? Okay. Oh, it's okay, guys. It's okay. All right, just let me know when your announcement's done and I'll go over it again. It's no big deal. You only have a couple minutes left? Okay. 4 minutes left. All right, so are the announcements done so I can tell you that again one more time? Okay. Okay. Not yet. Okay, they're on. They're over. All right, cool. So again, your Google Docs are forming your notes for your paper. So if you do those and you do them well, you've got quotes and analysis that are going to be able to go right into your essays. And that's the point of these. Okay. And that's why I want you to keep up with the reading at home so you can do the note taking in class. If this discussion was good for you and I enjoyed it too, I will make sure that I'd find a time at least once a week to do this with you to keep you up to date and help you work through the things in the book that are confusing to you. Cool. Cool. So I'll make sure to do that. And then as always, like if you really, yeah, I like talking to you guys too. Great. 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 And I'm proud of you guys for working together so good. You're doing a good job. It was interesting, but fun, good. That's this book, right? All right, so I'm gonna let you go so you're not late to class. Email me if you get stuck. You're gonna read Sweetheart of the Song Trebong this weekend. It's my favorite chapter. This girl is savage. You're gonna love it. Have a good weekend, okay? I will say hi to husband Greg and the children. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend. Email me if you need anything. I'll grade those quizzes. And if they're bad, then I'm going to have to come down there and fight you. And I'm pretty strong. I won't fight you. All right. Bye, guys.